Hey everyone, we're going to talk about variation. Today specifically we're going to talk about inverse variation. But let's review. Direct variation is this. Direct variation is y equals kx. So direct variation is multiplication. That's what we did earlier in the year. Remember, the k will always be the same thing as slope. So direct variation is multiplication. Y equals k divided by x, a division problem, is called inverse variation. How do I find k for inverse variation? I multiply the x and the y together. A combined variation combines direct and inverse variation in a more complicated relationship. So sometimes there are combined. There's also joint variation. Joint variation, it just means direct variation with more than one thing. So let's try this. Y varies directly as the square of x. So y varies directly as the square of x. Directly means multiplication. Y varies inversely with the cube of x. So this would be y varies inversely division with the cube of x. I'm sorry, that's x cubed. With the cube of x. Z varies jointly with x and y. So z is the same, jointly is the same thing as directly. So k, x, y. Z varies jointly with x and y and inversely with w. So z varies jointly with x and y, but inversely with w. And lastly, z varies directly with x. So z varies directly with x, and inversely with the product of w and y. So direct means multiply, inverse means divide. Joint means multiply. Suppose that x and y vary inversely. So x equals k over y. X and y vary inversely. And x is 7 when y equals 4. So what does that tell us? That tells us that k is 28. So my problem is really x equals 28 over y. Write a function that models this inverse variation. Right there it is. Z varies directly as the square of x and inversely with y. So z varies directly with the square of x and the inverse of y. When x is 2 and y is 4, z equals 3. So what does k equal? Well, 2 squared is 4, and they'll cancel, so k equals 3. So what's my equation? Z equals 3x squared over y. So, direct variation and inverse variation. Direct variation means multiply, inverse variation means divide. Joint variation means multiply. We're going to do a lot more practice problems like this in class, so check out the notes online. Thanks.